obviously we could go on and on about all these different possibilities that could grow the music industry. And I think we just did a great brainstorm. There's more probably out there, and there's a lot of nuance within this that we can't predict, but we've sort of laid out a bunch of possible areas that could grow the total addressable market of music, rise the tide for all, etc. But we haven't answered the question, what happens after streaming, which is the episode title. Will something come after streaming? We saw these format shifts every decade or two. Is streaming going to get supplanted the way cassettes, 8 tracks did, wax cylinders? What comes after streaming, Monica?
I don't know. But somebody's going to come up with something, I'm open to whatever it is. I wish streaming had better sound. I wish for everybody that wasn't complicated or expensive. I wish streaming had I don't know, it just feels so empty. Like when I would listen to a record or a CD and I could work with my sound system and really hear all the parts, that's not the experience that you have when you're streaming. And to a large extent, we now have all these people that listen differently, and they don't know the difference between something that really sounds good and something that doesn't, because they're not familiar. Mm-hmm. And so, I would like to see that get better. I would like to see music literacy get better. There's so many things to work on that could be products or services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes me think, and I sort of alluded to this in the first half of the episode, that maybe nothing comes after streaming, but streaming becomes this baseline that sticks around.
It's enhanced.
Yeah, enhanced. But we wouldn't call it something different than streaming. I mean, already there's, higher resolution listening.
You never know. I wouldn't. The jury's out.
The technology might change, right? You might have lower latency. You might have fatter files. You might have better internet. You might have, maybe it goes to physical where you unlock things. But I think, this is my feeling, what comes after streaming is diversification.
Right.
Sure, there's always been a diversity of revenue streams, whether you're on the recorded side, the publishing side, or the live side. There's always been diversification of revenue streams and formats, ways that people either listen or license. But I feel like streaming is going to stick around because, the way that streaming gets delivered could change. Like a lot of what you just said had to do with maybe there's some enriched data so that you can experience music with writing, with video, with other stuff. And maybe it's higher bandwidth, higher resolution so that you can hear the richness the way you could on an old record versus on crappy headphones. But that's really a hardware issue. That's not a streaming issue.
Right.
In a lot of ways, because, Qobuz, Tidal, even Spotify and Apple have higher resolution versions. And that's one of the thoughts, is that I don't think people know that they want that, but I think a lot of people don't know that, because they only heard it a certain way.
Right.
But I think over time, some of the hardware is going to come down. I mean, you can spend $100,000 on a home speaker system, $100,000, and you probably could. Some people can't hear that well because their hearing is going, but you're probably going to hear some difference. But that's not really going to ever take over at scale. Like the mass consumer's not going to spend,
No, but I there'll be other technologies that improve sound.
Right. And the speaker and I'm saying the hardware too. The hardware could become much cheaper to hear great stuff. It's crazy that it takes decades and decades to get to that evolution. But I'm thinking that the question, I provocatively asked the question of what comes after streaming. Partly because we don't know, but partly because I think what we're seeing is more multiple revenues, multiple formats, multiple licensing, multiple listening opportunities. We will use music and participate in music in multiple streams instead of it just being vinyl, just being cassettes, just being CDs.
Right. And as publishers, we really want it. We want it to be audiovisual, because the minute it falls into an audiovisual thing, we're not tied to any statutory rate or anything else the government's doing to control us in performances and mechanicals. So it's an opportunity. And it's much better for revenue if it has an audiovisual component.
And that speaks to the monetary value of passive versus active versus interactive listening, right? If it's using
Hmm.
more of your senses, if you're more of your soul and your body and your attention is being used while you engage with music, it makes sense for it to cost more. It's not, you don't have to pay for a cookbook to cook while you listen to music, or pay for the ingredients to cook
Right.
while you listen to music. You don't have to get your fitness app going while you listen to music, or your new shoes or whatever to run in. So it makes sense that if you have to wear things, see things, taste things as part of music, that it would be worth more.
Yeah. Well, it's also the fact that, we've had our performance royalties and mechanical royalties controlled for a really long time, and we can't get Congress to let go. They have, the whole point was that they thought we were going to be the monopolists, where like, but they don't control any of the tech companies who have billions of dollars. Like it's so hypocritical, really.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
I think
the laws
until
are the
until
laws might be antiquated a little bit on
yeah, but
this.
you can't change this stuff until we get a tech knowledgeable Congress.
Mm.
Like I worked really hard to try and get this representative in my district because the seat hasn't been open for 35 years. I wanted Alex Boris because he's a computer scientist. And I campaigned for him, and he was not the candidate that was supported by the current House person,
Mm.
and he lost. But not, he was it was close, but the fact that we only have one computer scientist in the House, I mean, and we're living in the age of AI, like that is troubling, really,
Yeah.
really troubling.
That's a really good point. Yeah. These things take time. We forget. At the speed of tech, the speed of social media, the speed of AI, we think that everything should go at that speed. But laws and people and relationships and biz dev and even some of the innovation like hardware,
Hmm.
it doesn't go at this. I mean, it's definitely speeding up, but it doesn't go at that speed. So if we ask this question, what happens after streaming? I want to say that our answer, mine and Monica's answer, I don't know, I want to see if I'm on the same page with you, Monica.
Hmm.
It's not about after streaming, it's things that go with streaming, just like things go with music. It's that streaming won't be the only thing. That's what comes after streaming.
It'll grow into something else, or be in tandem with other things.
That's what I think. I
Yeah.
think that.